Raiders face the Bears this weekend, and that's what we're talking about with Scott Gulbransen of the Silver and Black Today podcast. It's an Odyssey pod. Get it wherever you get your pods. So, Scott, who do we think is going to start on Sunday under center if Jimmy Garoppolo can't go?
If you're going to twist my arm and ask me to bet right now, Kyle, I'm going to tell you Aiden O'Connell. I think it should be Aiden O'Connell. I think it will be because you go, look, you have to try to win the football game, right? The Raiders have now won 2 in a row, and you have confidence building in that locker room, at least overall and on the defense. And so when you look at that, you say, well, maybe that's an argument to start the veteran Brian Hoyer, who's been around for 15 years and played for 7 different NFL teams. And the answer there, though, is Aiden O'Connell's had snaps all week. So it's different when you come in a game cold, like when Garoppolo went out the other night. That's what Brian Hoyer is there for, right? It's for that in the moment. He's a veteran. He's not going to get shaken by having to come in the middle of the third quarter or something like that. Aiden O'Connell, though, gets a chance to go against a Bears team that is pretty bad. And so he's got an opportunity to not only play against a full NFL team again, not in the preseason, but in the regular season. But I think he has an opportunity to succeed there, and he gives them more ability to stretch the ball downfield as well and get Davante Adams involved, all of that. So that's why I think they'll do it. But you never know. Josh McDaniels can be an unknown sometimes. So we'll see if he did that. But I think that gives them the best chance to win. Now, the other thing is the risk is low. If Aiden O'Connell goes out in the first quarter and against this bad Bears team doesn't look great or turns the ball over, you can always go to Hoyer. He's going to be sitting there. So I think that's what you do is you give the kid the opportunity and see what happens and hope that he comes along and plays much better than he did against the Chargers.
I agree.
Scott, there's always weirdness with the Raiders. I mean, even you mentioned like coming in that, they're 500, but like people are not sure if they're happy about that or not. Davante Adams, like one of the best receivers in the NFL, if not the best receiver in the NFL right now. He's being cryptic. He's been like a little strange, but this team may not be what he had bought in for, even if they are at 500 and even if they go above 500 with their schedule over the next like 4 or 5 games. Where are we at with him? Because, again, we're used to cryptic social media posts by wide receivers in the NFL is kind of like par for the course. But this one is from somebody who doesn't usually do a lot of this, and it just feels a little different.
Yesterday during the press conference with Davante, he was the first question he's asked about, hey, the last 2 games, your targets have been really low, 4 and 2. So 6 targets over 2 games. And he shared, he said, look, we're working through it is what he said. And he said that he's got a desire to be great. And that is not a selfish thing, but he wants the team to do well too. And so I think, and he knows that being who he is one of the best chances they have to be successful, especially on an offense that continues to struggle, ranked 25th in scoring in the NFL and 25th in the red zone as well. So they need to get him involved. It's crazy in any sport to have one of the best there is and to somehow not be getting him involved. Now, I don't blame Josh McDaniels for that. Actually, I blame him for a lot of stuff, but not this. I think this comes down to not having good quarterback play. Jimmy Garoppolo has not gotten to Davante Adams. Adams said yesterday that the quarterbacks he's played with in Las Vegas aren't used to throwing into that kind of coverage. You're talking about tight coverage, double coverage, bracketing, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I think there too, he was intimating that the quarterbacks aren't coming to him. So that's another reason why I think O'Connell would be a good option, because O'Connell is a rookie who will take some chances if he's told to do so. And I think he's tried to take O'Connell under his wing a little bit. I know they've had conversations. He talked about that. So you got to get Davante Adams involved. And this is where, some people might say, oh, selfish player. Why does he care about his own stats? It's not that he cares about his stats. It's that he understands that on that offensive unit, if he can get involved, they will be more successful as a team. And so that's what they need to do, however they need to do it.
Scott Gulbransen, Silver and Black Today is the podcast. You can find that wherever you get your pods and, of course, on the free Odyssey app. Scott, are the Raiders going to make it 2 in a row with a win this weekend?
I think so.
I'm sorry, 3 in a row.
3 in a row. Yes. So I think so, because this Bears team is without Justin Fields. And of course, Badgett, the backup quarterback in Chicago. Great story, Division II kid. As a sports writer, it's the kind of story you love to write because it's such an underdog story. But the Bears are not a good football team. You guys know this. And with Justin Fields out, I think the Raiders, with their defense, which has come along in the last 3 games, very nicely. I'm not saying it's a top 10 unit, but the defense deserves credit, as does Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator. They're playing much, much better. They're creating pressure up front. The Bears' offensive line is not very good at center. It's banged up. It's having problems. And then you toss in a rookie quarterback in there, and I think that's a good recipe for the Raiders. The question will be, is this going to be a 13-10 game? Is this going to be, some low-scoring affair? Because both teams might struggle to score with young quarterbacks. But I think that the Raiders, because of their confidence, because of this 2-game winning streak, because of, I think, O'Connell just being having an edge there at quarterback over the Division II kid, I think that they can go there and get that win and start to string some together here while they have an opportunity, while the schedule's a little softer.
Yeah, they've turned what looked like a disaster season into something a little more fascinating. Really pulling for them this weekend. And thanks so much for your time as always, Scott.
Yeah, guys, enjoy your weekend, and I appreciate you. We'll see you next week.